A YouTuber named S. Zachariah is exploring a construction site when he comes across a peculiar hole in the ground that somehow feels off. He is curiously poking around with a stick when an anguished voice calls out to him from below, followed by a strong underground wind. This part definitely sounds like a person crying out for help. Soon their cries are replaced by another sound, this one much different than the first. I don't think human vocal cords could ever produce the noises that follow. A final moan is soon drowned out by the chorus of supernatural screeches. Is this person being tormented by evil spirits, or is he himself becoming one of them? This ghost hunt turns terrifying fast. Published by Indra Saputra Official in April of 2022, Indra is exploring an abandoned place when he turns down a hallway that's occupied.
Minyak satu, tungguin di situ. Ya, aku tunggu di sini, no. Tenang aja, no. Aku tunggu di sini, no. Ya. Aku tunggu di sini. Bawa senter yang terang, please.
Dressed in white, a girl whose face we cannot see is kneeling in the darkness. Indra seems to hold back his fear so as not to startle the demon girl, but soon he turns around and takes off running. Would you stick around? That's a heck no from me. What happens to evil when it's found out? This video reveals the fear even evil suffers when being discovered. If you've heard of the Watts family from Frederick, Colorado, then you know that this man entering his neighbor's home to review security footage is not a man but a monster. During the commotion and trying to find the missing persons, this video was taken on August 13th according to the timestamp, just 2 days before being put behind bars on August 15th. The clip shows Watt's reaction to his neighbor's surveillance footage. The man's body language is quite telling. He will barely look up from his phone as the neighbor talks to police about how his surveillance camera is motion activated. Any motion that happens on the street, including an angle on Watt's home, is caught on camera. One of the videos shows Watts pulling his vehicle up to the house. In the clip, Watts claims that he parked where he did to bring tools in. He then puts his hands on the back of his head, completely bowled over by this unanticipated evidence. He sways back and forth, unable to keep still as his story crumbles beneath him. The neighbor repeats that if any action had happened during this period, he would have caught it on surveillance. In fact, the neighbor keeps his eyes steadfast on Chris, watching him watch the video, or not watch it because he can barely look at it. The entire clip is infuriating to watch. It makes your skin crawl. Watts can't get out of the house fast enough, and the moment he does, his neighbor admits his suspicions to police. It almost makes your heart stop. Truly haunting. A live streamer named Rubsy is staying over at a friend's house to take care of their pet cat. While they are away, he decides to stream some video games, but he keeps getting interrupted by a series of haunting events.
Yeah, that was the tragic story of my my bringing down of my dearest Lydia.
Oh my! The distractions don't end there. After the door slams shut on its own, the light in the other rooms turns on all by itself. Rubsy gets up and turns it off, but as soon as he sits back down on the couch, the light is somehow back on again. You can tell that he's getting weirded out badly at this point. He bravely inspects the door and doesn't find anyone on the other side, so he swallows his fear and sits back down. Just when it looks like he has settled in and enjoying himself, this happens.
Same.
Like I'm watching.
It's not like we needed, guys. It's not like we needed any sleep or anything.
This time, Rubsy doesn't stick around to see how far this possible poltergeist is going to take things. As he is making a quick exit, a chair pulls out from the table all on its own. This video could be a prank, but then again, maybe it is a genuine paranormal encounter. Maxim has returned to an abandoned cellar where a witch hid a doll in a coffin, and he probably should have kept away. Published by Russian channel Paranormal Point in May of 2022. Maxim does a ritual with the doll, lighting it ablaze. and he is told this by a witch. As he prepares to leave his camera in place and go outside, the witch reacts. And before long, things fall apart. After nearly being buried alive, he returns to the cellar to retrieve the items, after which he buries them. The spirit confirms that what he's done is correct.
Ты теперь свободен.
Do you think he's safe now? Me neither. Vickers Hill in Northern Ireland has a twisted history, and a piece of this history may have been caught on video. A bit of backstory. The footage shows a shadowy figure in Georgian attire cross the street around noon near the Church of Ireland Cathedral. Normal looking enough at first, that is, until it vanishes into the wall of the grounds opposite the cathedral. The ancient city of Armagh has a rich Georgian history, so the dress is befitting of the area. According to the man whose grandmother caught this on camera, she was still hyperventilating from the shock of seeing the ghost. If you saw what appeared to be a solid figure vanish like this, wouldn't you be? And considering the history of this place, it's not far-fetched to think this is paranormal. This folkloric creature is insanely creepy. Published to YouTube by Romeo Candid in November of 2007, this clip claims to show a real mananagal. Some info on this mythical creature. The mananagal is a traditional and mythical Filipino creature that's likened to a vampire or a witch. The details of this horrible creature's prey are even freakier. It is said to prey on pregnant women, especially those who are sleeping. New lovers or newlyweds are also prime targets for the mananagal, which is said to have been abandoned at the altar. Now onto the clip. The video shows a group of people just hanging out in the dark, shining their flashlight everywhere. There's nothing for a while but darkness. That is, until everyone starts screaming as they see this ghastly female creature with black hair and greenish skin appear at a short distance. The creature turns to them as they cry out in horror. Many in the comments are rightly freaked out by this. YouTuber Andrew Gibbons offers a first-hand account of the mananagal folktale, saying, "Well, one thing I know for sure that I heard from an elder is that it's an old folk tale to keep kids out of the woods at nighttime." YouTuber ChowSice01 adds, "Some say that they heard it flap its wings while they're in their houses, but who knows, it might just be a bat." He also says that some truly believe that these creatures are real. After watching this video, do you? The G-Team paranormal investigators are at it again, returning to the highly paranormal medical center. The paranormal activity that occurs in this video is sure to scare you silly. Published to YouTube in April of 2020, the team writes, "We chose this place due to the amount of paranormal activity we always get here, and lo and behold, they were waiting for us. Hold on to your hats, because this one's a wild ride. Patty leads the pack, and the paranormal activity that occurs in the center is off to the races from the get-go." As the crew is doing their intro, something in the next room falls to the floor.
Yeah. Oh my god.
What was that?
When they go to investigate, they claim that as soon as they walked into the room, it grew extremely cold. Jody screams, saying he felt like something touched him. He said something got his neck, and Patty points out that a cord hanging from the ceiling in the middle of the room is moving. Throughout the entire video, there are odd noises here and there. Sometimes they're subtle, other times they're distinct.
It said doctor?
was crazy.
Around 10 minutes 25 seconds, Jody is trying to communicate with the presence in the medical center, asking it to tap 3 times.
When that came out,
You hear that?
Although it does not comply, a shadow falls across the room, and another loud bang is heard in the next room.
Oh, God.
All this frightening activity begs the question, what kind of medical procedures went on here? This clip reveals an underground entrance in Saudi Arabia. It was originally posted to YouTube by Bismax TV in August of 2019. According to the video description, the underground is claimed to be haunted. It certainly sounds like it. Terrifying screams are heard coming from the depths of what looks like a bunker, or maybe even a well. There's a ladder leading down into a hole deep within the earth. The sacred text is being read, while screeching continues in the background. As the tormented screams continue, so does the sacred text reading. But what we don't know is why, and what is going on in this underground bunker. Some in the comments say this is one of the scariest things they've ever heard. Others say it's definitely not fake, and the latter perhaps leads to a secret torment chamber. YouTuber Psychic Afro Dancer offers up 2 interesting theories. One suggests that it's a red fox in heat. If you've ever heard audio from any animal in heat, you might consider this a valid theory. But the second theory is more appealing to those of us with paranormal leanings. It involves the belief in jinn. Jinn are spirits, demons, or supernatural creatures that appear in Islamic mythology and theology. Jinn are creatures similar to humans, thus they are neither inherently evil or inherently good, and the word jinn is derived from the terms to conceal or to hide. You can see it's not a stretch that some suggest jinn means beings that are concealed from the senses. It's believed that jinn originated as animal shape-shifting malevolent spirits found in unclean places, deserts, and dingy, dark, desolate locations. Those who believe often try to protect themselves from jinn. Could this be jinn, unredeemed, tormented in a scary hole? All I know is I wouldn't be going down there to check. Do you think you could stick it out in an abandoned former asylum, and what if you were being watched when you got there? Published to YouTube by This Is Dan Bell in September of 2015. This Place of Nightmares is a hauntingly beautiful house of horrors. The stone building is hidden in an overgrown woods, and naturally, Dan enters the basement first, wallpaper chipping from the wall. As he explores, Dan explains that he kept hearing noises throughout his exploration, which sounded like a person. He thinks a former patient returned to this building and was living there. Well, as a viewer, you're likely distracted by all the intricate details of this building, including its decorative tiles and molding. Its stained glass sunroof in one stairwell, its fireplaces and chandeliers. You might miss this figure in the doorway. Dan himself only noticed when safely back home, watching the video back. The point in question occurs at around 7 minutes 5 seconds, when he's turning a corner around a stairwell. There's an open door in a hallway beyond with light shining against the door, and a shadow is plainly visible. It moves as Dan turns to head up the stairs. Plenty of other strange things occurred during this visit, including Dan's battery popping, and what looked like red stains found on the tile floor in an upstairs room. That's probably the point where you should get the heck out of an abandoned building. I'm just glad Dan and his team made it out. This person's spirit didn't stay in the ground. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in January of 2022, this ghost hunter was walking along a road near an old graveyard at night when he spotted this. The ghostly figure could, of course, be a statue. It does seem to be standing abnormally still at first, then it clearly starts to move. Its long robe flows behind it as it strides forward. The cameraman comes closer and finds it kneeling before a grave, praying. When it turns to look at him, he shoots off like a light, running as fast as he can before his lights are out forever. Definitely the right call. It's unusual for ghosts to appear in broad daylight, but apparently this one likes to play games. Published by Ganjam's Pride in October of 2017, a female ghost was caught on camera at the top of this tree. You can see the figure of the purported ghost perched on the branch. It's frozen still there, unmoving, and it's not clear why. YouTubers in the comments have their opinions, while some think it has a logical explanation, like an inflatable doll caught in a tree. Others are 100% convinced this is a ghost. I suppose either might haunt you. When you head into the middle of nowhere in search of a cave, you certainly aren't looking to meet strangers. YouTuber Lil Goofy says that whenever he goes to this place, nobody is there. Not this time. He published this video of the incident in July of 2019 writing, "I brought a friend to see a rare cave in our local mountains that hardly anyone goes to. On our way up through a trail that leads to the caves, a stranger came out and waves at us. Then he pulled out what looked to be a big blade, so me and my friend ran since we didn't have any protection nor cell phones." In the video, the stranger is pointed out at a distance. He's dressed in black, and the YouTuber notes that his hands are behind his back. When the pair realize that the man has a blade, they hightail it out of there as fast as they can. As they slow to a stop, realizing they both left their phones in the car, the stranger rounds the corner, and they run off again, taking a left fork in the trail and wondering if the stranger knows the trail better than they do. After a while, they watch for their pursuer and catch him on video running up the trail. Finally, they make it back to their car in one piece. What were this man's intentions? Evil or not, this looked like it wouldn't have ended well. Published by the Paranormal Files official channel, this church in Alton, Illinois has long been rumored to be haunted ever since the Reverend took his own life inside. Let's see what they find. This crew's paranormal devices triggered.
Oh, right when you said that, too.
Shortly after, they sense an unexplained movement nearby, and then their device is triggered again.
Didn't we turn that one off? Because I just saw
Okay, who are you?
a light illuminate.
Are you the Reverend?
They decide to use a Kinect to see if there are any visible spirits in the pews, and they find one.
Shine it behind. Oh, look, you got one, you got one.
Okay, show it. Okay, can you move?
A moment later, a knock is heard. One of the crew then stands in the spot where the Reverend is said to have taken his life. His legs don't extend normally in the Kinect image on the video.
Will you come speak with me if you're here?
What's weird is that, like, put your legs apart.
Could this be because a rope was used and his feet didn't touch the ground?
Colin's extending his hands up to you. There's just something odd about it.
Later, they capture what appears to be a figure in the doorway.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I've got like...
Who is here with them in this haunted church? And are the rumors of this place being haunted correct? It sure seems like that's the case. Blake Dunkley wants to document this old haunted grocery store, and he challenges you to prove him wrong. Noises always seem to be coming from one room away.
You hearing this? It's the creepiest building I've ever been in.
Some much more obvious than others. He heads up the stairwell to prove that this is real. I think this next part sounds like a door slamming shut from somewhere above, and I also think it sounds like he needed to get the heck out of there.
There's light up here. Oh, I don't know if you heard that. It's so loud.
On the second floor is a single door that is locked when Blake tries it. This is the only door heavy enough to cause the slamming noises coming from upstairs before, but it doesn't even open. The only areas left to check out are the break room and bathroom. Nothing of interest is in here, so he's just about to leave when he hears one final sound.
And noises.
In my opinion, this is the same door that was locked moments ago, now slamming one more time. There's no more haunted a place than a 20th century lockup. Published to YouTube by Heather Hauntings in March of 2020, Heather and her man are staying in a cell where inmates have allegedly passed away. The result? Major paranormal activity as evidenced in these two videos. Last used in 1984, the jailhouse was once the scene of at least one life-taking, and another person locked up took their own life. Of course, with such a twisted history, many believe former inmates now haunt its grounds. Paranormal investigators have heard caustic sounds, footsteps, and voices. Even the historian believes the place is haunted. Bullard told the Jasper News, "Let's just say I went to the front door and left quickly. I heard something. I saw something that moved like a shadow, and I didn't stick around."
Here all night?
It seems enough of a warning for these paranormal investigators to know they're about to experience something truly chilling. In one video, they explore talking to the spirits via the spirit box, meanwhile hearing strange noises throughout the building. At one point, when they black out the room, loads of EVPs can be heard on the spirit box. In the second video, as they're staying overnight in the cell, they attempt to communicate with the spirits again. After asking if another inmate took the life of the spirit, they hear a distinctive yes twice on the EVP.
Yes. That was a very clear yes.
At around 14 minutes 30 seconds into the video, they start to hear the lightest of footsteps. They attempt to catch some shut-eye in the cell, and around 3 a.m., the witching hour, something bangs loudly, awakening them. Around the same time they heard this noise, Greg says he felt something touch his leg. Needless to say, they couldn't go back to sleep in the cell. Could you? I certainly wouldn't. Listen closely, you might not be hearing things. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor explains that she was home alone with her daughter, watching a kid's show when she heard an old man clearing his throat and speaking in the background of the video she was filming.
Come on.
Many others in the thread hear the voice too, with Redditor temperamental elements saying it sounds like the man says, "What?" The Redditor asks, "Do you have any male relatives that have passed? Maybe they're back to see your baby girl." Boss said that the child's great-grandpa had passed away a little over a year ago. Perhaps great-grandpa is reaching out. Should they reach back? Reddit user Expear Seekers took this video late one night and shared it to the subreddit Humanoid Encounters, not entirely sure of what exactly he saw while filming. In the video, the Reddit user continuously clicks a light on and off, seeming to be playing some sort of a trick on someone or something, but what exactly does he see? Although it may be hard to see, if you look hard enough, you should be able to see it. Right there.
You get it? Yeah.
Right there. Someone or something is just peeking its head past this rock here, trying to obviously stay hidden, and as soon as it spots them, it takes off.
You get it?
Yeah.
I think they just capture it that one time, which I also feel adds authenticity to this video. But what I wish they would have done is actually go and check out this rock from the other side to see if whatever it was they caught on camera was still hiding there. Right there. Just for a split second. Is caught on camera. Unfortunately, the video ends just a few moments later, and we are not given any sort of explanation as to what exactly was hiding behind the rock that night. The uploader states that he believes it could be related to a Native American myth, but is not entirely sure, which is why he wants viewers to give their opinion of what they think it is. So what do you think this strange figure is? 2 things that you should never mess with: a Ouija board and the spirit world. Posted by Big Rig Jiggin to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Big Rig claims that when he leaves this Ouija board out on the table, something strange happens. According to Big Rig, this video has been time edited due to it taking over 70 hours to get this footage. I tried to sit and watch for the movement so I could record. The only times it was happening is when I left the room and came back hours later. Big Rig leaves a Ouija board on the table with the planchette sitting at the top pointing downward. He passes his hand over the table and around the planchette, assumedly to show there are no strings attached. Then he leaves the room. The planchette sits still for a long while, but after a time, it starts moving around the board. It appears to slide all across the board, moving around of its own accord. The movement is also shown at a different angle. As you can see, the desk is thick, so magnets aren't likely at play here. NitroFox0 states in the comments that leaving the planchette on the board is a big no-no, and the fact that it's trying to leave the board means the spirit is trying to escape. Never really thought of that. Now this unexplainable Ouija board activity seems even creepier. What would you do if you discovered this demonic face peering into your baby's crib? Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Shadow Panda. The Redditor writes that she was checking her 10-month-old son on the baby monitor when she saw something unexpected. She notes that the footage you're about to see is not edited. The baby monitor shows what looks to be a horrifying face mid-screen between 2 bars of the crib. Shadow Panda explains further in the comments section. It's outside of his crib, but when I went in there was nothing there. My husband even moved the tummy time mat, and the face or whatever was still there. After removing her son from the crib, she checked the monitor and the face was still visible. She shares a picture of it in the comments section, but after completing a thorough examination of the room and the crib, although she found nothing, the image vanished from the monitor. While several Redditors have theories, spanning from a bunched up blanket to the Goblin King, the Redditor admits she's completely baffled. One thing most can agree on: this monster looks bonkers. This entry involves a series of videos revealing a web of industrial looking tunnels that weave beneath the campus of Northern Arizona University. The uploader states that in October of 2018, he only reached the bottom of the stairs but recently decided to venture further. Enclosed Granddad writes, NAU was almost established as an insane asylum back in the mid-1890s, and rumor has it that these tunnels would have been part of that. He shares a link, which notes that the building was first built as a reform school for Arizona's so-called vicious youth. It's unclear why it remained empty for years upon completion. That's when, as Granddad mentioned, an insane asylum was proposed by the territorial legislature. For some reason, that wasn't followed through either. What isn't made clear is this short historical literature is when the tunnels were built and for what purpose. The recorder guides us through the dark tunnels, writing, I came across pathways that I could have potentially crawled, shimmied through, but chose not to because 1. They seemed a bit dangerously cramped at points, and 2. I didn't want to spend too much time down there. I don't know how much farther these tunnels go until we find out what those tunnels were used for. The mystery may just be enough to haunt you. At the westernmost edge of Taylor Valley is a glacier where the ice runs red. Experts are baffled as to what this vile reaction is made out of and where these eruptions are coming from. Surface samples reveal this red sludge is a mix of salt water and mystery compounds unlike any other. They suspect this strange red water pours forth from a system of complex underwater caverns that have never been explored before. No one has a clue what else is down there, but it's got to be creepy beyond belief if the opening of this glacier is any indication. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Under the ice, they found small unknown organisms that can somehow survive extreme temperatures beneath a sheet of ice with no food or light. Researchers are currently investigating water samples taken from this area in hopes of solving this mysterious unexplained video. We'll just have to remain creeped out until they find an answer. CERN is the name of an ominous lab nestled on the border of Switzerland and France. But for now, all you need to know is that this is where a ritual shocked the science community and launched an investigation into the mysterious facility and its workers. On August of 2016, a scared man watches a group gather in the courtyard from his window. They wear black shrouds and walk slowly as they circle around someone who stands in the middle. The man can't believe what he's seeing and records all of it for proof. At 22 seconds, the person's shroud is removed to reveal a gown of all white. They kneel down and submit to a statue. One of them, the leader I suppose, walks to the statue and turns around to face the person in white with his arm up. The person in white offers no resistance and does not move. Everyone kneels except for the leader. At 46 seconds, an object in his hand gleams in the light as he moves forward, and that's when it happens. The ritual ends with the person standing over the target and getting them in the neck from what I can tell. Though it's hard to see from this angle and something is blocking them when it happens. Knowing that everyone there was a threat and that he could be next, the whistleblower immediately posted this video to their Twitter account for all to see, or at least that's how one version goes. CERN launched an internal investigation and declared this was a joke that got way out of hand. Some people were disciplined and let go. Many disagree with the results of the investigation and think it's real. Here's why. The lab is high-tech, well-known and well-guarded. A large ritual happened right in the middle of the courtyard, and security never came out once. If this was a joke, then security should have stopped it. An internal investigation says that this is a joke, but they never provide solid evidence as to how they came to this conclusion. I'll let you come to your own conclusions, but to me, none of this sounds good. The Redditor who posted this video to the Chills Narrator subreddit wonders what this mysterious creature might be. Originally posted by John O'Donnell _22 on TikTok, the creature in question races upright on two spindly legs, being chased by what looks to be a coyote. The creature has a long snout and appears to be shaven. As it runs down a residential street, it makes a high-pitched noise to avoid the predator on his tail. The creature jumps in or onto a nearby garbage can, and after the oblivious coyote continues on, the creature flips in a somersault off of the garbage, making yet another strange noise as it does. What is this thing? Let's see what Reddit has to say about it. Some suggest it's a golem, others a cat, and at least one a sphinx cat. Redditor all caps all dust says, it's called the Gully Beast. It takes from those who are believed to be inept at distinguishing what's real and what's not. If that's correct, talk about mind blown. When all is said and done, it's either a real mystery creature or just plain CGI, but whatever it is, you have to admit, it's freaky. Ring doorbells seem to capture more than you were bargaining for. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Yakuza Disco Man. This Redditor is wondering if what he's caught on his Ring doorbell is paranormal. The security camera shows a wide shot of a street outside his home with several parked cars along it. Nothing unusual, that is, until this ghostly figure streams past in the darkness. The semi-transparent phantom appears like he's trailing fog. Is this a spirit on a nighttime stroll? Redditor Noobvin reigns on our ghost hunting parade, writing, This is a camera glitch due to low lighting, and the way the Ring camera saves space with video and images, it's looking for pixel changes, and with low light, it is only detecting a fraction of the actual image, which makes the image appear transparent, noting that it's not really a glitch per se, but rather the design of the camera in order to reduce high bandwidth. Noobvin is pretty sure it's not a ghost. Others suggested that the Redditor reenact the event under these same conditions to see if he can replicate this. Let's hope he does. Better safe than sorry. Nevertheless, I genuinely think this footage is creepy. Animals in fear oftentimes don't look quite like they do at rest. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Calligram. The Redditor asks, WTF is this? It appears to be a winged creature that appears to have a demon face. The sound that emerges from this creature further solidifies this theory, as it seems like a roar that is terrifying. The big soulless eyes and wide dinosaur-like mouth make you wonder if this thing is from another dimension. Its beak certainly doesn't look like a bird's, although most in the comments of this video say it's an angry barn owl. Once you hear that, you can see the owlish features pretty clearly, apart from what looks to be a chin and a crazy wide mouth, but which is perhaps just part of the owl's framed face. Barn owls are known for their horrifying scream, so I think we do indeed have an answer for Calligram, but knowing that doesn't stop the optics of this fearsome bird from messing with your brain. This haunted mansion isn't a Disney theme park ride, it's the real deal. On the Chills Narrator subreddit, Be More Talk submitted this freaky video in July of 2019 writing, "This video was made while it was 115 degrees out, and I say this because while we were filming, we noticed that someone was in the top floor of this 42-room mansion that was built in the 1800s. The Uplands mansion appears to be rather decrepit and is buried in nature. Lots of trees around and ivy growing up the mansion walls. Perfect scene for a ghost sighting." The video navigates the overgrown shrubbery surrounding the exterior of the mansion, some of which is covered with graffiti. At one point, as the YouTuber notes, there appears to be someone in the upper window. The YouTuber says someone keeps poking their head in and out of the window, but the visual is not clear. Whatever it is, it's enough to keep them out of that mansion, at least for now. Beware of randos crossing the road at night, especially if they look like they've just escaped an asylum. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, this creepy clip was discovered on YouTube and originally posted in May of 2020. A couple of men are driving down a highway near Riga one night when they slow down for a stray individual to cross the road. It's not clear if the person is a man or woman. Whatever the case, they've got long dark hair and are only wearing a large oversized white shirt. The pedestrian slowly starts to cross as the men pull to a stop, but the stranger stops halfway and turns around to face the vehicle head on. For a moment they stand there before heading again on their way. Those in the comments are flabbergasted as the driver from the video, with some saying that's obviously a witch, while Sony Bravo adds, "I was expecting her to lash out, to be honest." Talk about an anticlimactic ending. A family was reportedly taken from this scary abandoned house, and these ghost hunters are here to investigate. Published by Dark Arts TV in August of 2021, they first come across a photograph of creepy porcelain dolls. They then open the door to a room before heading outside. While outside, they hear an unexplained sound.
So I've got a big torch out now. Yo, the car's just banged.
Another happens shortly after, scaring the crew.
This video right. Right now, Energy.com for sponsoring this video right.
Back inside, while one of them is waiting for the other near the stairs, the front door opens. Later they hear voices, and it sounds like someone is at the door. When they ask the spirit to show itself, they hear it again.
Can you show yourself?
What's that?
Outside again, they speak to the spirit through the spirit box, and he tells them what he's ready for. They later hear male voices, not through the spirit box, but nearby.
Man's voice here. I'll turn this off, man.
They decide it's time to leave before they get taken to. It's a full moon, and a YouTuber who goes by the name of Al Capone is in the most hectic cemetery I have ever seen. He can't even explain what he's been through without getting interrupted.
Okay, things moving behind tombstones while I was driving.
Then listen to this at 4 minutes and 52 seconds.
No, behind me.
Oh, you heard it behind you? I heard it.
No, I heard what was by you, but I'm saying by the cars, like.
Al is talking when another man's voice speaks at the same time. What they hear a minute and a half later leaves their mouths hanging open. I mean, this could be neighbors from some of the nearby houses, except there's really no reason for anybody to be shouting near the cemetery in the middle of the night. Plus, the direction these voices are coming from is deeper in the cemetery, away from the houses and closer to the woods. And since this video was made in the middle of January 2020, I doubt anyone was out there camping. This video has become quite popular in the Spanish YouTube community, but I wanted to shed some light on its origins. This clip is from the web series The Haunting of Sunshine Girl Network. Posted in January of 2012, the uploader wonders if her studio is haunted. In the video, she claims that she hasn't been down in the studio for a couple months because of what happened. What happened was that she heard someone speak while she was down there alone. She explains that her brother had been down there several times, and her brother went through every room but found nothing. Being as it seems the coast is clear, she wants to finish the video she'd previously been filming. But as she begins with the turning board, a dark figure, well, half of a dark silhouette figure really, exits the room far behind her and can be seen passing into the next room. Seeing the thing reflected in the mirror in front of her, the girl sprints out of the room full stop, racing up the stairs and banging on the door. Many in the comments are calling the apparition scary and creepy. YouTuber Bree Naylor writes, "Maybe it wasn't a good idea to watch this at 4:08 in the morning. It's bad enough I get scared just sitting in the living room, and then I watch this. I'm almost in tears." Are you watching at 4:08 in the morning too? Don't let this clip enter your dreams, but do check out the full Haunting of Sunshine Girl Network series. It's definitely worth the watch. The next time you look into your baby monitor, you might find an unnerving guardian angel. That's what happened to a friend of XXBlazenXX who posted this clip to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The redditor writes in the comments, "A friend of mine had recently put her child to bed, and she has gone through every single thought of how to justify this figure, but it looks like a little child walking in and around the crib. By the time log on the baby monitor, you can see it's around 9:40 p.m. and if you look closely, you'll catch a ghost white shadow figure walk around the back of the crib as the baby sleeps on. The figure creeps around one side of the crib before pacing back to the head of the crib and coming slightly around the other side. Then it moves back. At the end of the clip, it appears most visible, leaving its sentinel spot, probably in order to make itself a sandwich. What was this phantom caretaker doing? Do you think it's a friendly guardian, or does the babysitter have evil intent? Whatever the case, safeguard that baby. It's better to be safe than sorry." YouTuber Proving Demons writes, "On our paranormal investigation at a haunted hotel, we capture a real shadow person hat man on video. Are you wondering what a hat man is? Let Dana Matthews from the site Week in Weird explain the phenomena. According to Matthews, shadow men came creeping out of the shadows in 2011 when paranormal radio personality Art Bell cast a light into the darkness on his radio show Coast to Coast AM, and the result was a burgeoning community of people coming forward, explaining their encounters with these phenomena. Out of this shadow people phenomena, another slightly different experience arose, encounters with the Hat Man. Much like shadow people, the Hat Man often appears at nighttime, wearing a wide-brimmed hat, hence the name. Those who encounter him have described him as a solid black mass, darker than a shadow without discernible facial features, and no describable lower body. Apart from a long flowing trench coat, the Hat Man is often seen floating and moves without sound, quite frequently in a basement setting. Another quality of this phenomena is that the Hat Man tends to appear in places of high negative energy and family dysfunction. This video shows either a Hat Man or shadow figure haunting this generally creepy house. The figure flies down a hallway, disappearing into a distant room as the ghost investigators search the house's interior. So what's going inside this house? Is it haunted? The Hat Man phenomena is often a recurring one for many people, from childhood to adulthood. Some believe shadow people are evil, like physical medium Amy Allen, who thinks they are interdimensional entities. Although the Hat Man and the shadow person might seem one and the same, they do indeed appear to be two separate entities. If you see a Hat Man, consider your family dynamics and the energy of your relationships. Does this video make you believe in Hat Men and shadow figures? If so, don't turn around. Sometimes it's better to be blissfully ignorant. Published by Nurk7 to the Ghosts subreddit. The girls in this video heard a bump in the night, so they soon head down into the basement to investigate. When they arrive there, another thud clunks in the darkness, and as they nope right out of there, a whining sound groans as they run up the stairs. While some note that their reaction seems genuine, Noob Vin again pops into this thread. The Redditor who offered a rational explanation to the Ring doorbell entry footage to drop some more practicality, saying the sound seems more like a hinge or some other artificial noise. While this whining sound might be explained away, what of the obvious thud? Is there a ghost dropping a bowling ball down here? Have you ever owned a doll that just isn't right? One that you spot on your desk in the darkness of night, staring at you. Published in May of 2015, this footage of a haunted doll will make your toes curl. The doll in question, which looks creepy in its wide-eyed stare already, suddenly does something you least expect. It blinks. The person taking the video hurries off, likely not wanting to see what the doll will do next. One of the freakiest things about this footage is that the doll doesn't look like a little girl's toy. It's a full-grown woman doll, makeup and all. You don't expect an inanimate doll to suddenly blink at you in the darkness. When it does, that image stays with you. It haunts you. Unidentified flying devices do exist. Posted to the Very Spooky Video subreddit by Yuli Bon. This strange ghostly robot figure was captured on film in Peru. The figure is blue and glowing. It illuminates the night but dims slightly as cars pass on the highway beyond, and as it appears to drift further into the distance, Redditor Planet Nile suggests that it's a costume writing. When the brightly lit trucks pass behind it, the camera can't pick it up against those, so instead it casts a shadow, which means it's a solid object and not a phantom. Others remark that 3 AM is witching hour, so who knows, it could be anything. What do you think it is? An abandoned mansion in Houston, Texas appears as the epicenter of paranormal activity in this clip, posted to YouTube by Hugo Blog in August of 2016. The shell of a mansion looks creepy enough on the outside, but then they enter. Wandering around the house in the darkness, at some point, the group captures on video what appears to be a ghostly young girl. They apparently didn't see her in real time, as they don't race from the house or cry out in fear. This image was only discovered after playing back the footage. Would you have the guts to enter here? Cross the threshold and find out. What would you do if you came across this chilling scene at night? Well, because there's a sign on the side of the road that reads "Free Cat." If it's there to lure unsuspecting people in, it's done its job. As these three stop their car to check out the makeshift animal shelter, as the trio approach the sign, they realize they're looking at something truly horrifying on a dark, deserted road at night. They conclude that whoever did this put the cats there because they're psycho. Couldn't agree more. Get out of there as fast as humanly possible. Published to YouTube by In Jamaica in August of 2017, this big almost catch occurred at the Hellshire Bridge. The camera approaches a large gathering of onlookers surrounding the bridge in question, where cars have pulled to the side of the road to watch the big event. Two young men have managed to nab the Croc by the snout using a length of rope. The crowd cheers as the crocodile thrashes about and soon escapes his captors. They try again, throwing the rope into the murky water. After a few failed attempts to recapture it, they give up and the crowd disperses. Many in the comments below blame the lack of catch on the crowd, saying they're making too much noise and scaring the Croc away. Perhaps they're right, but if you knew this monster was lurking below, could you suppress your fear? Ghosts love to play games. This playful ghost was caught in a short clip by Janeth Mendoza Ponce and posted on Facebook. Ponce writes, "My daughter playing outside Northside High School caught this video. Ghost or not, looks creepy to me. Since it was only them, 3 there, 2 running and 1 recording. If you look closely, the figure disappears before they run around the corner. The video shows 2 of the girls racing towards the opposite end of the school buildings. Then suddenly a 3rd figure appears, running perpendicular along the opposite building." As Ponce stated, the figure does seem to disappear before the girls arrive. If you watch closely, it does appear that something is behind there, and that's where the figure emerges. Many in the comments familiar with the area insist that the field house is haunted. Whether you take the skeptic's word for it or the believers, the shadow creature is here to stay. Hear that haunting whistle coming round the bend? It might just be the ghost train. Posted to YouTube by the Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in March of 2018, the CCTV footage purports to show a ghost train at the Baotou railway station in China. The uploader writes, "When the station security were watching the surveillance cameras, they noticed this ghost train pull into the station. The eerie footage shows a transparent train pull up along the platform, mounted on the train tracks. As the uploader mentioned, the train pauses for its ghostly passengers to enter and exit before slowly leaving the station, picking up speed as around 8 carriages move past. Some in the comments of this video suggest the train is just the Hogwarts Express or a failed cloaking spell from amateur wizards. Others say it's a train from a parallel universe. Some call out fake, saying this video is actually filmed in a Russian train state and has been debunked for being superimposed. Don't know about you, but I'd like to imagine this ghost train truly does exist and is transporting our recently departed to the afterlife. Ever felt like you were being watched? These 3 boys definitely had reason to." Posted by the Comics Man to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the uploader writes, "Some dudes go to the Danakil Desert or a park. What is in the first frame? The video shows 3 kids getting ready to do some parkour, everyday kid stuff, but not far beyond in the background. Look at what is watching them from a nearby tree. The figure appears like a silhouette and gives off serious Slenderman vibes. The ominous way it's lurking there makes the otherwise innocent parkour video intensely creepy. You can vaguely see the figure again at a distance at 1 minute and 43 seconds. It continues to stand there in the clump of trees, and again around 3 minutes in. What is this thing? Do these boys have a lurker? Nowhere is safe. Basements are inherently creepy, but this basement's resident shadow person will make your skin crawl. A shadow person was caught on camera in a Pennsylvania basement on December 15th, 2016. The YouTuber writes, "For the last few months there have been weird bangs and noises in our basement. Sounds like someone is walking up and down our steps." He goes on to say that his wife thought it was their cats at first, since their litter box is in the basement, but on the night in question, their cats were upstairs in their daughter's room, and their dog was in his cage in the kitchen, whining about the basement noise. He brought a camera to prove to his wife that the cats weren't making this noise, which had started out of nowhere a few months prior. "This thing I caught on camera, I am at a loss over," he writes. "Now I am terrified in this house." As he heads down the stairs to the basement, a shadow person peers around the corner, frightening the man.
I know I heard you. Holy, oh my, dude.
He runs down the stairs at it, trying to catch it on camera up close, but it disappears around the corner and isn't caught again. YouTuber Wyoming Oregon points out, if you pay attention to when he first turns the cam, around right before he cuts on the lights, it was standing there on the stairwell then ran down the stairs. Most confirm Wyoming's take, with many agreeing it was extremely creepy. Others say they've seen these shadow people in real life before. The uploader notes that they've decided to move after watching this video, as they don't want to raise their daughter in a haunted house. After seeing this, can you blame them? Om is a popular YouTuber from Delhi, India, who for 2 years has been steadily growing his channel Om Vlogs. At first, he would do normal things like go to a museum or an amusement park, but about a year ago, he started to get into ghost hunting. Now, he goes on ghost hunting explorations all the time, and they are really good. Delhi has a population of about 30 million people, so we are talking about a single city with as many people as the whole state of Texas, which means plenty of places to explore and plenty of ghosts to be found. So recently, Om Vlogs went to a building that was so cursed he wouldn't say the name of it or where it was, only that it was a restaurant in his hometown where something horrendous happened that made them close down and never reopen. On May 13th of 2020, they visit it for the first time, or at least try to. They don't get far because a presence guarding the area won't let them go inside. They stay at what they mistake for a safe distance and peer in. There's a light that's orange here at 8 minutes and 9 seconds coming from an otherwise dark room. They don't see anything else and chance a closer look. Om is talking more about the place when a mysterious shadow descends the wall at 12 minutes and 23 seconds. A minute later, they learn beyond a doubt that something is inside. His friend is standing next to him, so it's not him. They dare not enter, but they stick around for a bit longer. At 15 minutes and 22 seconds, a single pixel goes white while recording a room on the second floor. When they zoom out, the light mysteriously goes away, but not before more black shapes pass over it. By now, it's getting late, so Om is wrapping up the video when he senses something watching him and points out a shadow figure that only he can see in person. It doesn't show up on camera, at least not that I can see, but you should remember this area for later because things are about to ramp up. Apparently whatever is in there is not happy to see them again when they return a few weeks later. This time a white-robed figure with a demonic head and 2 horns leans on the brick wall as if taunting them to try and go in, which they don't notice and proceed to do. They shine their light into a blown out window, and eyes waverly reflect at 7 minutes and 5 seconds. The restaurant is obviously no longer taking reservations. They stand and brace themselves for whatever comes next, and when nothing happens, they decide to explore a few rooms before returning to the main area. As they think about whether to leave or not, a terrible feeling washes over them, and their camera goes out of focus like something is near, and it is. Om puts his hand up to shield the group from something they can't see but we can. At 10 minutes and 58 seconds, it's coincidentally standing in the exact same place where Om thought he saw something the first time. The building becomes more displeased with each passing moment. But when they go into the room to leave, its guardian is absolutely gone. I guess it knew they were leaving and letting them pass without harm. And I think I heard a fire alarm at 11 minutes and 18 seconds even though the place clearly doesn't have one. I suspect it once burnt down. And what you heard was paranormal residual energy from the event. Om never does reveal the location, but there is a comment left by someone who thought they recognized the location, and I thought this was interesting. If someone could please confirm that this location is on the Cardinal Bypass Road in Delhi, that would be helpful, and tell us anything else you know about its haunted history. Filming in St. Augustine at night would usually mean loads of traffic and a hopping nightlife, But considering what's going on in the world today, YouTube channel Hunting the Dead arrived at an eerily empty street in the usually bustling city in May of 2020. This is part 2 of the channel's Paranormal Encounter series in St. Augustine. According to the team, the spirit of a boy named James likes to come to this area and sit up in a tree in Tormented Cemetery on Cordova Street. Jody also claims you can hear the boy's mother call him on occasion. The history behind this ghost? During the 19th century, 5-year-old James Morgan would always climb the old oak tree here, which stood 3 stories tall. Sadly, in 1877, he fell from the tree and lost his life. He was buried in the graveyard below. His family had purchased several plots around the boy's grave, but being so grief-filled, they ended up leaving St. Augustine and never came back, leaving James's grave in isolation. Perhaps it's this loneliness that keeps little James's spirit from moving on. Ghost tour guide Dion Moore claims to have seen the boy in the tree on 2 occasions, once in person while giving a guided tour, and once via a photo taken by a young girl on his tour. Moore said, "There is such a thing as energy. Energy never goes away. Let's see what kind of energy is alive in the cemetery." Apart from EVPs, some of the photographic evidence of this site will make your skin crawl. Jody captured a shadow figure in his photograph of the hanging tower platform looking down at them. He calls it the Goat Man picture because the figure appears to have 4 legs. His wife Alicia caught something even more frightening. When taking photos at the entrance, she captured this evil-looking mask-like face glaring back at her. Would you dare enter the haunted Tormented Cemetery? With the sordid history and the paranormal energy that appears to exist there, I don't think I would have the guts to enter.
Thank you so much for getting me to 30,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 40,000 subscribers next. Thank you.